If you ever look around at your life and think, this looks like exactly what I wanted or what you thought you wanted, but you're still miserable. You have all the clothes in your closet that a girl could ever hope to wear. You have all the Chanel purses and the Hermes bags and the skincare and the makeup that you could ever want. Possibly you even have all the followers you could ever need. You probably even have a really hot boyfriend. But maybe, just maybe, you also look at your life and you feel this deep heartache that you feel may never go away. No amount of getting, no amount of having new things could ever make you truly fulfilled or happy. Maybe you even got to the mountaintop of your career or your industry and you were looking at your life and you're like, how come I'm not happy? How come that didn't bring me joy? How come even the relationship that I'm in isn't even bringing me joy? My aim by the end of this video is to help you see that you do not need anything outside of yourself to be content, to feel joy, to feel happiness and love, and to actually truly feel for the first time maybe in your life that the next getting is not going to be the answer to your problem, which is a hard pill to swallow. I'm going to give you a very simple yet powerful framework that is going to help you shift your attention and your awareness into a state of total fulfillment, joy, and abundance while moving away from lack, need, want, desire. One of the most confusing things is looking at your life and realizing that you have everything you ever wanted, everything you ever worked for, and it still does not bring you happiness. I see it so much. So many women are focused on getting the next thing that will make them happy, buying the next skincare product on TikTok, buying the next clothing item that's hot and trendy because some celebrity posted about, buying the next Birkin bag or the next Chanel bag. What I've seen is so many of you are actually becoming miserable by all these things around you. You go into your closet and you have a closet full of clothes and nothing to wear. You're totally miserable, and the very thing that you believed at one point would solve all your problems and make you so happy if you just had that thing now is the cause of your suffering. The irony is that you get so fixated on these items, on these things that you believe will make you happy, and it might not be things. It might be love, it might be affection, it might be attention, it might be followers, it might be money, whatever it is. You get so fixated on having this thing in the belief that getting this next thing will be the key to your happiness, then I will be happy. It is not true, and I think that many of us have realized it at this point, that the next getting is not making us happy. First of all, what I want you to understand is that you are not alone. There is nothing wrong with you. Here is a reality check for you. No amount of getting will ever make you happy. I'm just gonna say it. Nothing that you can get outside of yourself will ever make you truly happy. It may make this part of yourself a little bit happy for a bit of time, but it's going to want again. No amount of getting will ever fill that hole that you feel inside of your heart. I can tell you from personal experience that I used to feel that that hole may never get filled, may never go away. That ache in my chest may never, ever go away. So what is this part of us that continues to want and creates all of our pain and suffering in our lifetime? This is what we're going to talk about today. This one concept has changed my entire life. I'm going to break it down for you. At the age of 25, I had built a company of 7,000 people. I had dream apartment on the 38th floor of a high-rise luxury building. I had a successful, wealthy boyfriend who treated me to luxury vacations all over the world. I was a leader of teams. I traveled the world. I spoke on stages in front of up to 15,000 people. I was on 100 stages in under 4 years, speaking every single week. I was living my boss babe era to the max. I had luxury products. I had designer bags. I was making more money than I ever imagined that I would. I was getting my hair done, dyeing it bleach blonde, getting extensions, getting Botox, filler, the whole shebang at 25. I remember looking at my life one day in this high-rise apartment, looking around, and for the very first time in the quiet of my apartment, when I had no phone on me, when I had no technology around, I was in silence for the first time in a long time, which I had avoided. And I remember looking around and I was like, I didn't even realize I'm not happy. I didn't even realize I was not happy because I couldn't even admit it to myself. It was like I so badly did not want to see that I was miserable with what I was doing in my career, and I was doing it because I was making money. I was miserable in a relationship with the man who was wealthy and had status and raised my status, but was actually still in another relationship and wasn't loyal. I looked around at the items in my house and I was like, these actually feel really heavy. They're BS goals. These were BS goals. I was living a BS life. I didn't even realize that I didn't want those things. I wanted things that were not the things that I actually wanted. They were what I had been trained or conditioned to want. I wasn't aligned. I wasn't living in alignment with my values because I didn't even know what my values were. I felt this ache in my heart. I was so scared to feel the feeling because I didn't want to have to dive into it. I had a fear that I wouldn't be able to get out of it. I wouldn't be able to go in there, figure out what it was, and come out the other side without being completely different. Fortunately, that ended up happening either way. I had been too distracted and bogged down with the noise of life to even realize that I was not. So what I did was I actually sought out a mentor who has taught me all of these things that I'm going to be sharing with you in this video, and they totally changed the course of my life. Over the last 5 years, I shut down the business, and now I'm doing what I've always wanted to do, which is write books, become an author, create YouTube videos, teaching this information to other people and other women. I left the relationship, which was really, I hate to use the word toxic, but it was not a healthy relationship. I left the relationship. I left that big apartment. I sold a lot of my belongings that didn't bring me joy. The things that I thought I needed to have to be happy. The things I got in order to fill that void in my heart. As I started to explore with this man who was a NASA scientist, went to ashrams and started studying under different teachers, I started to learn that these other ways were very useful. These practices, these meditations, these moments of contemplation, these ways of clearing the mind. I sought out help from this man, extremely high IQ, very intelligent, brilliant engineer, but also very tuned in spiritually, very tapped in. That was very strange to me. I was not a spiritual girly at all. But as I started to explore these practices, explore these ways of being, these ways of self-discovery, I started to transform slowly. It was like slowly and then all at once. I stopped being interested in the same things I was interested in. I left the business, I left the relationship, but then I also just stopped doing things that I thought were gonna make me happy. I stopped getting my hair dyed. This is my natural curly colored hair. I stopped getting Botox. I stopped getting filler because it just started to fade. I didn't feel like I needed those things to be okay. I didn't feel like I needed to buy the new clothes to be okay anymore. It was so natural that it happened. It wasn't this big transformation all at once. It was a natural thing that happened by understanding this concept and doing a few exercises every single day. And now what I'll tell you is I'm so happy I'm in a relationship with a loving man who understands me, sees me, and is loyal to me. I have less around me, but I'm so much happier in my life. I'm so much more fulfilled. Every single day I wake up with peace and joy and comfort and this sense of possibility. And that is something that I want for all of you. So we're gonna break it down. This is the meat and the bones of every single thing that we're gonna be building on in this video. What you need to understand is the part of yourself that wants the next thing in hopes that it's going to be okay actually has a name. My mentor calls it the wanter. And the wanter is exactly what it's called. It's designed to want. And where it originates is when you come into this world from your mother, immediately something comes online when you're born to get your needs fulfilled. Think about when you're born and they cut your umbilical cord, you need oxygen. So you breathe in oxygen. The wanter is the thing that's, I need oxygen. We gotta get oxygen. Let's take a breath. You most likely started crying when you came out of the womb. That is you trying to get either warmth, food, or nourishment. You come out of the womb and you start crying and you get a blanket and your wanter cried out and it got what it needed, and so then it quiets down. Now the wanter doesn't stop wanting because it got warmth once. The wanter is going to continue to want. So what happens next? Oh, the blanket gets pulled away. I'm gonna cry out again. I need the blanket. Now I need food. It's going to cry out again. I get the food from the mother. I get the nourishment from the mother. Now I can rest back. My wanter doesn't need anything. It's happy. The wanter considers getting what it wants happiness, but it's not true happiness because the wanter will rise up again when the next need is not provided for. What happens is as you get older, and as time goes on in life, you start to want other things. The wanter extends beyond these core basic needs of food, nourishment, shelter, and warmth. What happens is it starts to extend, and it extends to, I want the new toy. And then it's, I want the toy that that kid has. And then it turns into, I want the new bike. And you see Tommy across the street with a bike with handlebars, and I want the new bike with the handlebars. And it turns into, now I need the car. Now I need the house. Now I need the Birkin bag. Now I need the followers on social media. Now I need the likes. Now I need the love. Now I need the winning. I need to win in whatever it is I'm doing, because it's not just enough to get the bike with the handlebars. Now I have to crush everybody else who has bicycles with handlebars. The wanter is never satiated. The wanter will always continue to want, and when it gets what it wants, it will call it happiness, but it's not true happiness. Now, the wanter is here to make your life better. It is here to come up with a strategy. Often that is manipulating, cajoling, tweaking the situation to be exactly what will make it best for your wanter. Your wanter has no concern for other people's wanters. However, the wanter is not something we want to vanquish. This is here to make your life better. We're gonna have to live with the wanter. So if you start to banish your wanter and say, it's terrible that I have a wanter, I can't have a wanter, that's gonna create a lot of pain and suffering for you as well. You have to start to befriend your wanter. So if you're aware that your wanter works in certain ways where it maybe manipulates or seeks validation from men, or realizes that if I could just tweak this situation with this person, maybe they'll like me, the people pleaser wanter. All of us have a way that our wanter is oriented. It could be mean, it could be cruel, it could be nasty, it could be mean girl, it could be manipulative, nice girl. You'll figure out how your wanter is oriented. When I first learned this concept, I realized how much of my life was being lived from my wanter. I remember telling my mentor, I was like, I think my entire life is from my wanter. I don't even know what I do in a day that's not from my wanter, because everything is oriented around how can I optimize my looks? How can I optimize my business? How can I optimize my social medias to become this person that I'm trying to be that's not even who I really want to be? And he's like, yeah, that's most people. Most people are operating from their wanter. And what this gives us is it gives us context for ourselves, but also it gives us context for other people. Anytime someone is mean to you, anytime someone is rude, anytime someone comments a mean comment on your social media, anytime somebody tries to manipulate or control you, they're just in their wanter. It doesn't mean they're bad. It doesn't mean they're wrong. Just like you're not bad or wrong. It means that they're in their wanter, and that's okay. So what we get to start to see is everybody has a wanter, but that's not all we are. We are also this aspect of ourselves that is pure awareness, pure consciousness. This part of us that we refer to as true nature, our true eternal essence. It's a part of us that is happy and joyful and loving, abundant and content and at peace. This part of us is also who we truly are. That's not all we are, because we're also our wanter. So if we can start to look at this as a continuum, a sliding scale of wanter to true nature, and we are just always at some point on that continuum, then we can start to see life as not bad or good, or us doing bad or good, but just where are we on that continuum? Where are other people on that continuum? Oh, are they in their true nature, or are they just in their wanter right now? They're just treating me poorly because they're in their wanter. It gives us compassion for others, but it also gives us compassion for ourselves. I like to use the modern day example of Blair and Serena from Gossip Girl. If you're not familiar, maybe go watch an episode. If we extrapolate out the essence of these two individuals, more often than not, there's times where both Blair and Serena, just like all of us, are in their wanter and in their version of true nature, which look very different. If we look and we were to extrapolate and magnify the essence of either, if we look at Blair, more often than not, she seems to be a little bit more in her wanter. So we could look at Blair as the wanter in the scenario if we were to amplify all of her plots and schemes. She's manipulating, she's controlling, she's trying to order everybody around her all the time. She's just in her wanter a little bit more. If we look at Serena as an example, she is in the play of life a lot of times. She is light, she is airy. She's like, we don't have a problem here. Everything is fun, everything is light, everything is joy. That is the energy of true nature. Now again, both of them slide on the continuum to either side, but if we were just to look at two essences, those are kind of the embodiments of the two energies if we were to compare and contrast. The awareness of this is key, because once you can become aware of your wanter, you can see how it works. Once I give you these tools, you can start to move from our wanter more into the essence of the true nature. We're always going to have things that trigger the wanter. We're always going to have those things. However, there is a possibility of being in true nature more often than not, and when you do, you will experience life from an abundant, joyful, wonderful experience. Everything is a play. We're waking up to the play while in the play, baby, versus this life is a problem. It's something to be managed and controlled and manipulated, and it's not a fun place to be. This world, it's buck frickin' wild, and we can live and wake up to the play and be in the play. That is the goal of life to me, is being able to play and be like, oh yes, my wanter is rising up right now, and how can I be more in my true nature in this moment? The more we can slide ourselves to the true nature part of the scale, the happier and more enjoyable life will be for us and the people around us. Now you're probably thinking, how am I supposed to get out of my wanter and into my true nature? I'm going to break down a few of these practices for you. It's not the only way to get into your true nature. There's a million ways to get into your true nature and to embody that. It could be just going on a walk for you. It could be meditating. It could be having dinner with a friend. However, for me, these are practices that have worked. They've worked for thousands and thousands of other people. The first practice is name that thought practice. A lot of times what we don't realize is the mind is actually the cause of our suffering. When we're not in the mind, when we're at a park and we're laughing with friends, we're not in our mind. We're not overthinking. We might be if we're still in our wanter, but we're not overthinking. We're not analyzing the situation. We're laughing, joyful. That's being in our true nature. That's not being in mind. The mind is the contracted state. When we're trying to analyze and solve, that's ruled by the wanter of the mind. One of the greatest causes of our suffering is the mind. So if we can learn how to get out of the mind and into the heart, into the body, that is going to be a huge tool for you in the moment to moment of your day. So this could be when you're on a subway. This could be when you're on the way to work in the car. This could be when you're going to sleep. Your mind is racing for the next day. This happened to me last night. I'm filming my first YouTube video right now. And I was like, okay, I gotta do this and this and this and this. And then I was like, I can't sleep right now. I gotta do my name that thought practice. For those of you who are like, meditation, it's really hard to clear my mind. I just have so many thoughts. This is for you. This is a natural way to clear your mind of thought without clearing your mind of thought. What you're going to do is you're simply going to rest back. You're going to close your eyes, and you're going to allow whatever thought to surface. And as it does, you're going to name that thought. It could be breakfast thought, get the car wash thought, and you're going to put the word thought at the end. This helps to name it, it helps to separate it from you and the thought, and it helps to itemize it instead of internalize it and spiral. If the thoughts are coming too fast, you can take the thoughts and you can clump them together. So you could say breakfast, lunch, I have to make dinner thought, okay? You clump it together. And then what you do is you sit back, you rest back, you wait for another one, and you wait for the next thought to come, and you say, oh, I need to cancel that subscription thought. Now, if you're like, oh, I need to cancel that subscription thought, and then it's, oh, I'm so stupid for not canceling that subscription thought. You don't want to let your thoughts spiral too much. You want to catch it at the thought before it becomes a story, because the story turns into spiraling, and the spiraling turns into a miserable drain of sorrow, which we don't want. So we're stopping the thought at the thought. Now, what you'll find is that depending on how active your mind is, after about 2 or 3 or 4 thoughts that you name, the thoughts will stop coming. Your mind will be quiet. My mentor used to call this the joyful noticer practice, because at the end, you're like sitting there and you're like, I don't have any more thoughts. I don't have any more thoughts. And for some, it's the first time in their whole life that they've never had thoughts. So try this out. I also will link the practices recorded by my mentor below, so you guys can get access to the free podcast, the book, or the recording practices where you can actually listen and he'll facilitate you through this, so you don't have to facilitate yourself. You just pop it on. Now that I know how to do it, if I have my mind spiraling, I'll just start to do name that thought practice on the fly. This is one you can do every single day, and I recommend you try and do it 2 to 3 times a day whenever your thoughts are busy. This is really going to help quiet the mind. The first tool in our toolkit, we got name that thought practice, is going to help you in times where your mind is spiraling, where you're literally in a downward existential dread of thoughts. The next practice I want to introduce you to is first growl practice. This is going to be my nose. Whenever I wear makeup, my nose runs. The first growl practice is extremely helpful when you are in an elevated situation where something starts to just tick you off. Now, the greatest example I can use of this is sitting in traffic. If you drive on the on-ramp and you see on the freeway in front of you traffic lined up for miles, and you're like, oh my God, this is the perfect petri dish for your wanter to rise up, because you can't control it. There's nothing you can do. And it's pretty growly, right? You're probably going to be like that kind of energy. Your wanter does not want this traffic for you, which is great. Your wanter is trying to help. Wanter is not wanting traffic. It's not wanting traffic to happen for you, which is actually really nice. It's wanting no traffic. Now, it's not worried about other people in the traffic. It's worried about you in the traffic. It's self-oriented. However, when you get on that on-ramp and the traffic triggers you, what you can do to allow your wanter to be part of you, but also separate from you, is you can ask your wanter, hey wanter, what are you wanting that you're not getting? And the answer will probably be something like, well, my wanter is wanting there to be no traffic. And what you can do is you can say to your wanter, thank you, wanter, so much for not wanting traffic for me. That's so kind of you. What are my options? So what happens is when you're trapped in the wanter, it's like rage cage. It is feral. The wanter is primal. It is so primal. What happens is you can't see clearly when you're in your wanter. We want to separate from your wanter in that moment. Hey, wanter, what are you wanting that you're not? Well, my wanter is wanting this. Thank you so much for wanting that for me, wanter. You're becoming friends with your wanter. You're letting your wanter know that they're thanked for wanting things to be better for you. And so what can happen then is then you can think clearly. Okay, what are my options? Oh, maybe I can get on this other off-ramp and I can go this other way. You can play some music and start singing. You can listen to a podcast or an audiobook or turn on a video like this. You can have all these other opportunities that you wouldn't have otherwise thought because you were trapped in your wanter. Another great example, this is what I use it for. I live with my boyfriend and I love him very much. And there's so many times that he is such a mirror for me and triggers things within my wanter that it doesn't like. Relationships, health, and wealth are the biggest triggers of our wanter. So there's times where he does something that I'm like, I don't like that. My growl comes out. So instead of freaking out on him, I'll say, hey, wanter, what's my wanter wanting that it's not getting? Oh, my wanter is wanting my boyfriend to load the dishwasher in a different way. Thank you so much, wanter, for wanting my boyfriend to load the dishwasher in a different way. What are my options from this place of possibility rather than the wanter? I can reload the dishwasher without a complaint. I can understand that he's doing his best. I can talk to him and request kindly that he change the way he did the dishwasher, whatever it may be. So the first growl is very useful if you're past the thoughts. Name that thought practice is very great when your mind is spiraling. First growl practice is wonderful when you get that first immediate growl. Maybe your thoughts have already spiraled and maybe you're starting to get a growl about all your thoughts. What's my wanter wanting that it's not getting? Oh, it's having all these thoughts and it doesn't like it. What are my options? Maybe I can do that and name that thought practice. They all tie together. Now, if your thoughts have been running rampant, you are past your first growl, you are like deep in your ish, the next practice that you can armor up with is called the living practice. And the living practice is the thing that some people in the beginning actually need to do more more than any other practice because they're just getting so pulled into their wanter immediately. Life can be really hard. It can be very challenging. It can feel so real and intense and wild because there's so many people operating, especially in the world today, in their wanters. So the living practice is really a tool for when you are already pulled in. You're crying. You are highly emotional. You are in a rage with your partner or with whoever in your life. Maybe your kids. I don't know. You are like past the point of the first growl. You are past the point of name that thought. You are past your peace. You are in full-blown wanter mode. That is okay. This is where this practice comes in. Whenever you have an emotion come up, this is when living practice is really powerful. When I started, especially with feeling my emotions, I was doing living practice every single day, sometimes multiple times a day, because I was so suppressed in my emotions and I was so afraid to go into those emotions with the fear that I couldn't get out of them. I just stay stuck spiraling in those emotions forever. But what the living practice helped me understand is that the only way to release the emotion and to move past it and to grow and never be affected by the emotion again is actually through feeling the emotion. So the very thing we're running away from, because our wanter doesn't want to go there, the very thing we're running away from holds the key to our freedom. What you want to do with the living practice, I really recommend that you use the recording down below. I still to this day turn this on when I'm having a really big emotional moment. You turn it on and you lay down. You're going to be asked to feel, where do you feel this in your, you have this elevated emotion, do you feel it in your heart? Do you feel it in your throat? Do you feel it in your head? Do you feel it in your stomach? Tune into that emotion. Tune into where it is in your body. Where is the disturbance originated? Where is it coming from? Once you can feel that and you tune into that and you feel into it, this is releasing energy that has been stored in your body for potentially lifetimes, but definitely years. This is the way to release it. What you want to understand, you're not trying to get this to go. You're not trying to solve it or figure it out with the mind. You're not trying to stop it from being what it is. You're here to honor this emotion, to honor this feeling and go deep into it, trusting that you're going to come out the other end and be much better off. I've done this enough times to know that if I go into the uncomfortable emotion, I'm going to come out the other end feeling so good that I'm so willing to go deep in there, because the deeper I go into it, the more high I'm going to come out on the other end. That's what most people don't understand and why most people stay stuck in a downward spiral, feeling miserable their whole freaking life. You have to be willing to go into the emotion that's uncomfortable. So you go into the emotion where it's at in your body. You don't have to figure it out. You don't have to solve it. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to, if you need to process it and you need to talk about it, you need to vent it out, you can do that too. Just start talking it out, venting it out. Some of us women, I know we need to do that. But then you're going to start to feel it, to release it, to scream, to cry, to get primal, to freak out, to punch a pillow, whatever it is. Feel the emotion. Let the emotion move. Allow the emotion to move. Let your wanter get ragey if it needs to. There's been so many times with my mentor, I've just been like, this person sucks, da 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 da. I gotta vent it out, and then I can realize that it actually had nothing to do with that person. It had everything to do with what it triggered within me. As that emotion flows, what you're gonna realize is that yes, this emotion is intense. And yes, this emotion is probably now releasing a little bit because you've been willing to honor it. As this emotion releases, you're going to start to expand out and realize that this is not all you really are. You are not just this feeling. You are not just this emotion. You are not just this painful experience or the collection of your painful experiences. Who you truly are, your true nature, not your wanter. Your true nature supersedes all of it. You are the awareness of this emotion. You are sitting on the bank of the river watching the emotion pass you like a river passing you by. Because what you'll understand is every single moment, every single painful experience has always had a beginning, it's always had a duration, and it's always had a completion. No matter what it is, no matter how painful it is, even if it's not in this lifetime that you heal it, eventually it'll have a completion. The pain will have a completion as well. So you can start to be the observer of your emotions instead of being completely captured in them and getting trapped in this downward spiral. You can start to be the observer of your emotions, be in the awareness, be in the true nature, and realize, oh, this is not all that I am. This is just a part of who I am. It's just an emotion that I'm experiencing that is fleeting, that will end. And once you can have that higher perspective, which the recording guides you on all of this, then you can expand out. You can expand out past your body, and you can realize that you're in a room, and you can expand it out past that room and realize that you're in a house, and expand out past that house and realize that you're in a city, and then a planet, and then a solar system. And you can start to see that you're part of this bigger picture that is so far beyond this water or this identity, this human suit that you've been riding around in, this bioorganic sensory vehicle. And you can start to return to that feeling of peace and your true nature and realize that all of the pains that you experience, once the pain is honored, can be released. And that is where the healing happens. So the living practice is great when you're already pulled in. Now, the last practice that I'm going to share with you is called the loving blessing practice. And it ties in nicely to after the living practice, because once you're done with the living practice, you're most likely going to feel much better. You're not going to feel that pain lodged in your body as much. You're gonna feel liberated. You might even feel very light. You might just feel at peace, like you don't want to do anything for a few hours, just lay there in the blissed out awareness. The purpose of the loving blessing practice is to be able to get in touch with that which you truly are before you started wanting the things and then getting the things and then feeling miserable that you got the things and worse than you did before. You're getting to be in touch with that which you truly are, preceding all of those things, preceding the identities that you picked up along the way to be liked, to be loved, to be enough, to be too much, to be not too much. The loving blessing practice is allowing you to get in touch with that who you truly are, which is a loving, caring, kind, compassionate being, your true nature, not in the wanter, but in the other essence of who you truly are. I like to do this first thing when I wake up. So first thing when I'm opening my eyes or before I do, I think about a being, and I do this before I get out of bed. So I'm doing this and I'm sending loving blessings to people around me. What I love about this practice is that it allows you to get in touch with the love that you truly are, and you will find that from this space, you don't want anything. You don't need anything to be okay. You don't need approval from others. You don't need the followers. You don't need the Birkin bag. You don't need the things that you thought you needed from this space. You're allowing yourself to recondition yourself to feel this new feeling of not needing things to be okay. And that is how you eventually get to a place where you condition yourself in a new way. So the loving blessing practice, you get in touch with a person, being, a thing, a flower, an animal that you can send and beam unconditional love to. I always think of one of my friend's pets that I love so much, Poppy. She's so cute. I love Poppy so much. I always think of Poppy and I start beaming love to Poppy, that unconditional love. Anything that you can send unconditional love towards, just beam that love, send that love, emanate that. What you're going to do is you're going to start to expand outward. So you're going to start to bring other people into your awareness, or other people will start to come into your awareness. And you're gonna start beaming them that same love that you were sending to the little puppy or the little kitty or the horsey, whoever it is, or the flower or the person, your child maybe. A lot of moms, it's their children. Beaming that unconditional love, you're gonna extend that out to the next person that comes into your awareness. This could eventually extend into, everyone in your family, everyone in the country, everyone on the planet. However, most likely at some point, you'll not want to send the love. It'll get trapped. When this happens, that's okay. It's not wrong or bad. Just return to the person or thing of origin and start beaming that thing love. Eventually, you'll feel a momentum with this practice where even if you don't like someone, you will be able to beam them love, because you'll ultimately be this love that you realize has no conditions, no requirements, doesn't need anything or anybody to be different than they are to love them. What a world that would be. Oh my God, please sign me up. Being able to understand the wanter, that those people are in their wanter, and still loving them despite it. So there might be a block with somebody. I had a block with someone for a long time, probably 1.5 years, and now I'm sending love all day. I can send love to that person because I just continue to go back to the person or thing of origin. Loving blessing practice, this is resting in the pure love essence that you are, and this is going to allow you to recondition and repattern yourself so that you can send love to others. Ultimately, you want to then, at the end, send this love to yourself. And some people, that is the hardest one for you, is sending this love to yourself. We've covered a lot today, the wanter and true nature. We've covered name that thought practice, first growl practice, the living practice, and the loving blessing practice. If you want the resource, my mentor and I actually created a book based on his work that I transcribed and put into a book. It's called Wanter Dynamics and the Love We Are. Wanter Dynamics, we're all living in this life in these dynamics of the wanter, and we also are the love that we are, the true nature. If you want to get a deeper dive into these practices, this book has probably like 15 or so practices, many different fables, metaphors, stories from my mentor, Mitch. I was able to transcribe all of this with him. This is his artwork on the cover. This is our wanter, and this is our true nature, baby. Wanter Dynamics and the Love We Are. If you want this book, it's available hardback, paperback, Amazon, anywhere books are sold, Barnes & Noble, Target. It is a quick read, but it's something that you can come back to again and again. It's kind of like a little practice Bible for you of helping you return to your true nature. I see this work as something that has impacted me so positively in my life compared to where I was a few years ago, that if I could even help this reach 1 or 2 or 3 people in the world and it impacted them in a positive way, that would make my life feel like a success. If you feel like someone you know could benefit from this, please share the video with them. Download the podcast. The podcast is free. It's the same content that's in this book. You can listen to the recordings. They'll be linked below. You can grab the book. My loving invitation for this video is to invite you to do one of these practices. Maybe start with the name that thought practice today. Listen to the recording or just do it on the fly. Name the thought as it comes, rest back, do it again until the thoughts disappear. Maybe it's living practice for you. Maybe it's first growl practice when you're driving to work. Maybe it's loving blessing practice where you're shifting and sending love to the people around. Drop the practice you want to try in the comments below. I would love to hear what one excites you guys the most. I'll see you guys next week for a brand new video. I love you so much. I'm so grateful that you stayed along this journey on this video with me. I will see you next week.